to start with love and end with love. So, just take a deep breath here. Let's try to bring it in. And it's really good to be here. More than you probably know. 135. Are there any juicy people in here? I was hoping there was going to be some juicy people in here. All right. You all right for the plucking right now? All right. Well, I'm going to see if I can pluck you today. I'm going to pluck you. I'm going to pluck you. I'm going to do the introduction to the Course in Miracles. If you're here for the first time, the only guidelines to the class is that you need not believe it, you need not accept it, you need not welcome it. Some of it might be hard to believe, some of it might startle you. You're not necessarily being asked to analyze it at all, but you know, that's what we do. But if you use it, you'll see that it's true. So you're not in the class, you're not in the presence of somebody that's trying to convert you, change you, try to make you think different. I'm sharing some ideas that you may find helpful, you may not, but the ideas have been extraordinarily helpful to me and to a lot of people. So part of freedom is just that, freedom, giving people the freedom to believe whatever the heck they want to believe, or don't believe whatever they don't want to believe, right? Because your happiness comes from you, it doesn't come from anywhere else anyway. And everything in this class is going to be based on lesson 2. Every class I do is going to be based on lesson 2 in A Course in Miracles, which is I give everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. So this is based on the idea that you are the one that's giving all the meaning to everything that you're perceiving and experiencing in your life. Is there anybody that doesn't agree with that? That in the end, you're the one that's determining how you see things. Anybody disagree with that? Okay, so if in the end, you're the one that's determining how you see things, then in the end, you're the one that's determining how you feel. Yeah. Don't you agree that what you feel is coming from how you are seeing things? So a person that wants to change the way they feel, they have to change the way they are seeing things, the way that they are thinking. Human beings have the strange habit of wanting to have everything change while they stay the same. You know, it's like I want my experience to change, but I want to keep looking at it the same way I'm looking at it, experiencing it the same way I'm experiencing it. So I'm going to do real quickly the introduction to the Course in Miracles right at the beginning of the book. And a miracle is a correct perception, according to the Course. A miracle is a correct perception. A miracle is a correct perception. It's basically saying if we have a correct perception, it's a miracle. Okay. If we actually look at things in a totally loving way, it's a miracle. Because most people are acting from the thought, if somebody else was different, if somebody else spoke differently, if somebody else acted differently, if some situation or circumstance outside of me were different, then I'd be saved, I'd be happy. Most people are acting from the belief that if everything outside of them changed, if they were in a different place, a different situation, a different circumstance, if somebody else, my mama act differently, if my boss act differently, if my friends act differently, if a political party acted differently, if everything outside of me were acting differently, then I would be happy. And the Course in Miracles teaches us that that absolutely is impossible, that will never work, and if you base your happiness on that, you'll never have any kind of permanent happiness whatsoever, because there is absolutely no way you can control how everyone around you behaves. So if you make your happiness dependent on me being a certain way that you think I ought to be in order for you to enjoy this class, then you're taking your power away, because your enjoyment of this class depends on how you're looking at it. Right? So I'm just going to show up and be myself. I'm going to invite you to judge however you want to judge, and I will invite you to have a good time today or not, because that's going to be based on how you see it and not me. I'm having a good time in the way that it goes. I'm grateful to be here. You know, I was in a fire week before last that I almost could have died in. So I've seen a lot of things since the last time I saw you. And so my perception of reality is slightly different than what it was before. When you're fighting a fire naked, it changes you. It does. And that's what I found myself doing before the class a couple of weeks ago. But I'm telling you, if you're in the middle of it, I defy you to laugh. I defy you to laugh if you're in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And when I'm seeing correctly, I will be laughing and fighting the fire naked. That's what comes up. I'm going to have a good time no matter what. This is a Course in Miracles. It's a required course. This is a Course in Miracles. It's a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will doesn't mean that you can establish the curriculum. Having free will doesn't mean you can establish the curriculum. Having free will doesn't mean you can establish the curriculum for your happiness. Free will means you can elect what you want to take at a given time. It's up to you. You can learn as much as you want to learn about how to remove the blocks to your happiness at any given time. Your free will only determines how much time you want to spend on your own awakening. That's where your free will comes in. But the things you're going to have to learn in order to be awakened, you don't determine that. There are rules to happiness. There are rules of abundance. There are rules of peace. And unless a person learns how to obey those rules, then they just don't experience peace. You can't attack people and think you're going to have peace. You can't have a guilty mind and think you're going to have peace. You can't be in pain and then think you're going to have peace. You can't blame and project everybody else and hold everybody else responsible for your happiness and think you're going to have peace. There are rules for happiness. But where the free will comes in is you can spend as much time as you want to spend on your own awakening and your own personal growth. You're the one that decides how much energy you want to put into your own awakening. Everybody with me on that? Yeah. That's where free will comes in. So then it says, this course doesn't aim at teaching the meaning of love. So we're not in this course so that we can learn the meaning of love, because the meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. The meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. No one can teach you the meaning of love. The Course in Miracles says you learn what love is by learning what love isn't. And so love isn't attack. Love isn't guilt. Love isn't thinking you're sinful. Love isn't being separate from source. But it says the Course in Miracles does aim at removing the blocks to the awareness of the presence of love. So the reason why I'm here with you today is everything that keeps me from loving you and seeing you correctly, I'm here to allow that to be removed from my mind. I'm here so that everything that keeps me from having my joy can be removed. Anything that keeps me from recognizing my abundance can be removed. Okay. I used to look for people who I thought were going to do that for me. Most people don't like the idea that their happiness comes from them and not from something outside of them, because they've done such a lousy job of making themselves happy. It's depressing to hear that they have to be the one that does it. So when you tell the average person, your happiness is not going to come from another person. There is no such thing as your soulmate that's going to make you happy. There is no such thing as a job and a career you're going to have that's going to make you happy. There is no such thing as a body that you're going to have that's going to make you happy. They don't exist. And when something tells us that and then says, well, your happiness is coming from you because you're the one that's making yourself feel the way you feel, then that can be depressing if you've been a person who's been trying to make yourself happy all your life and you haven't been successful at it yet. And the reason why you haven't been successful at it yet is because, according to the Course, you haven't learned how to communicate with your inner guide called the Holy Spirit. That we haven't learned how to communicate with our higher power. And that we haven't learned how to listen to instruction. We make up what we think will, he says, we make up what we think will make us happy, and then we ask Spirit for guidance.
Yeah.
We do it exactly backwards. We come up with what it is we think we want, and then we ask God to guide us to it. That's like a baby that's 2 years old deciding for itself that it wants a nice shiny pair of scissors, which you know wouldn't be too cool for a 2-year-old to be playing with. But then the 2-year-old, then after the 2-year-old has decided that it wants the scissors, then it asks God for guidance on how to get the scissors. That's us. We decide on what it is we think is best for us and what will make us happy. Even if it could be something that could be the worst thing in the world for us to have. And then we ask God to manifest it. And in absolute certainty that we've chosen exactly what would be the best thing for us. Just like the little 2-year-old baby, those are the prettiest, shiniest seals I've ever seen. So think about that for a moment. Just be with that for a minute. Do you decide on what you want, and then after you've made up your mind about what you think will make you happy, then you start asking for guidance? Okay, yeah. If you're not ecstatically happy, then according to this, that's exactly what you're doing. Okay, so whenever you're not happy, say to yourself, I'm telling myself if this were different, I'd be saved. Whenever you're unhappy, tell yourself, oh, I'm thinking again, if something outside of myself was different, then I'd be happy, as if my happiness is coming from the thing outside of myself instead of coming from me, because I'm the one that's determining how I see it. So I'm the one that's determining how I feel. It seems like it's an enormous responsibility unless you're actually fulfilling your special function and doing what you were born to do. In that case, it's easy because it's not like the sun gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to be hot today. Right? It's just in it being what it is serving its function. And when you're being who you are, you'll be fulfilling your function. It's a strain when you're not practicing the truth of who you are. Your life is a strain when you're not being authentic, when you're not being true to yourself. Yeah. It's easy when you're being authentic and you're being true to yourself. Okay? So it says, the Course does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, because the awareness of love's presence is your natural inheritance. And the opposite of love is fear. So you can't love me and fear me, according to the Course. You can't love me and fear me. You're either fearing me or loving me, but you can't love me and fear me. There's no fear in love, and there's no love in fear. There's no fear in love, and there's no love in fear. They're separate things. You can't go, I'm so angry at you because I love you so much. Now, I'm so angry at you because I'm afraid of you so much. I'm so angry at you because I'm so jealous right now because I'm so afraid right now. I'm not jealous because I love you. I'm jealous because I don't. Yes. Kind of explains a lot of my relationships. Right? And then, and remember, you don't have to believe this, accept this, welcome this. I'm just sharing what the Course said. Don't shoot the messenger. Okay? I'm just sharing what the Course in Miracles said. All right? I did not originate it. I did not create it. And I'm not here to defend it. Okay? All right? I'll leave that up to you. Okay? All right. It says, now love has no opposite. It's all encompassing. So that means this Course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. If I got a real relationship, nothing can threaten it. If I have a real love, nothing can threaten it. If I have a real freedom, nothing can be threaten it. If I have a real happiness, nothing can threaten it. Losing my job wouldn't threaten it. Fighting a fire wouldn't threaten it. No, if a disease wouldn't threaten it. If I got real happiness that comes from within, nothing can threaten it. If my happiness is fake happiness, anything can make me lose my peace. All right. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Nothing unreal exists. That's where the peace of God is located. So for about a moment, I'm going to say nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Okay, because it's through the repetition that we change our minds. All right, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Let's see. Let me see if I can find something holy here. Okay. It's okay to be alive. The fun police are not gonna get you. It's okay to be alive. The fun police are not gonna get you. You got to burn up the ego and do what with your ego? Your jealousy and your fear and your lack and attack. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. 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 Let go of that black thought and go. And then grievance you've been holding since a child. What you were thinking about before you came in here. The thing that keeps you angry and upset. This is a course in miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. Free will means only that you can elect what you want to take at any given time. Anger, what do you say? Your taxes say. The people that you don't like, they go. Burn, baby, burn. Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love. The meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. I say the meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. The meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. The meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. The meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. The course's aim is to remove the blocks. Do you want to remove the blocks? The purpose of the course is to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. Natural inheritance. Love is your natural inheritance. Can you say it? Love is my natural inheritance. What you say? Love is my natural inheritance. Let's say it, y'all. Love is my natural inheritance. Say what? Love is my natural inheritance. Woo! Love is my natural inheritance. Yeah. Love is my natural inheritance. Yeah. Woo! Let's give it up. Woo! 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 That's right. I'm trying to control you. I'm trying to psych you into being happy. I'm dangerous. This is a cult if I've ever seen. He said I deserve happiness. He got to be a liar. There's a line in the Course in Miracles that says, if I tell you that you could have happiness that never ends, you should want to side with that idea even if you don't know how to happen. Think about that for a second. If there's a way for you to have true love in your life, you should side with that idea even if you don't know how to have true love in your life. Yeah. We have a tendency to not want to side with ideas that we can't see how it can happen. Right, sure. Or to be open to something that we can't figure out how to create it. Do you know adults have a hard time accepting answers that they didn't think of? Even if you got the answer for an adult, they will not receive it if they didn't think of it. Think about how crazy that is. You wouldn't fly anywhere if you had to know the law of aerodynamics before you got on a plane. So the idea that you have to always understand everything in order to benefit from it is ridiculous. You know, I don't understand how my transmission works, but I'm supposed to understand God. So I'm going to share a section that's called Lesson 135 in the Course in Miracles. It's called If I Defend Myself, I'm Attacked. If I defend myself, I'm attacked. And I'm going to start with the part that says, paragraph 11, if you got the book in 135, and it starts off with the sentence, a healed mind does not plan. I think I left my coffee on the table. Would you mind getting it on the table in the kitchen? Where is it? Is that it? Over there? You see it? No, I got it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I like all my other eyes, huh? I'm on page 252. This is lesson 135. If I defend myself, I'm attacked. On paragraph 11. Okay. Now, Don't get upset if you find yourself not doing what I'm about to share from the Course in Miracles. You know why? Because if you notice, the first 3 words were a healed mind. Okay, it said a healed mind. So if you immediately go into panic, it's because you don't have a healed mind. It said a healed mind does not plan. A healed mind carries out the plans that it receives through listening to wisdom that's not its own wisdom. So when your mind is healed, you're saying, I'm a person that's willing to listen to wisdom beyond the wisdom I have. I'm a person that's willing to listen to wisdom that's beyond the wisdom that I have. I'm a person that's willing to listen to wisdom that's greater than mine. I have a healed mind. I have a willingness to listen to the wisdom of an infinite intelligence beyond mine. What else does a healed mind do? A healed mind waits until it has been taught what should be done. So I'm going to wait until I'm taught what I should do. I'm not going to do anything until I'm taught what I should do. In that situation you're dealing with right now, he's saying, first of all, you should carry out a plan that you're going to receive through listening to a wisdom that's not your own in that situation you're in right now. And it's also saying you should wait until you've been taught what should be done in that situation right now. And then you should proceed to do what you've been taught you should do. See that simple instruction. If I got a healed mind, I'm not planning. But then it goes right behind that and tells you what it means when it says that. It's not saying you sit down and you twiddle your thumbs. It said what you do is you carry out a plan. And you carry out a plan that you're receiving through listening to the Holy Spirit, which is your higher self. Then it goes on to tell us you wait until you're told what should be done and then you do it. And you don't depend on yourself for anything. And you don't depend on yourself for anything when you have a healed mind. You don't depend on yourself for anything except, and this is a very important point, he says you don't depend on yourself for anything except your adequacy to fulfill the plans assigned to you. So any plan that comes from spirit, any plan that comes from your true self will always be a plan that you are adequate to fulfill right now. So a plan you can't do right now is not your plan. So now you know how to tell when you're listening to spirit. Whatever you are told to do, you can do it. In other words, the spirit would give you a plan that required you to fly under your own power. It would be a plan that you could do through walking and using your legs. In other words, a plan that comes from love would not be a plan that you couldn't do now. That's how you can tell the difference between the plans you're making up and the plans that God is making up. The plan you're making up is going to involve a lot of stuff you're going to have to do in the future to get some kind of a future outcome that you hope you're going to have. That's our plan. And God's plan would be a plan that's wiser than what you could think of, but at the same time, it's exactly what you're adequate to fulfill. You would that also be true in a relationship. If you were in a divine relationship, then you would be adequate to fulfill the needs in that relationship. The partner would not be telling you what's lacking in you, what's missing in you, what needs to be changed in you, what's not enough in you. That is not your divine partner. That is a person that was chosen by the part of you that does not love you. And since we see it with so many people, we think it's normal now. That's what's so funny. Now we think it's normal to be in relationships where you're always trying to work it out. got to go home and work on my relationship. I got to go work on my relationship. Let me go work on my relationship. I got to go work on my relationship. Let me go work on my relationship. I got to go work on my relationship. I got to go work on my relationship. It's because it's the wrong one.
Yeah. It's the wrong one.
But have you seen their house?
Right. Yeah.
What are you talking about, man? You see that ground? Like I've said many times, I've gotten into wrong relationships because of booty. Anybody else raise your hand? Okay, notice most of the class raised their hand. They'll be right now getting butt implants. Because butts are in. They're in right now. And some of us were naturally blessed with the latest fad. I used to think this thing was too big. Now it's perfect. You know, I remember growing up when dark-skinned blacks weren't in. Right. There was light-skinned blacks that got all the attention when I was growing up. Even within the black race, it was racism.
Wow.
Then all of a sudden the Black Power movement hit around the late, 60s. I was in. Light-skinned blacks was out. You ain't no real black person. Yeah, so don't change who you are based on a fad or a trend. That doesn't mean anything. Because somebody that loves you, they're going to love you anyway. They're going to love you no matter what you look like. I'm counting on it as I get older. Lord, let that be true, please. That's why sometimes you just need to be in relationships with people your own age, because your eyesight is failing equally at the same time. So they're going to go, well, you look pretty good to me. I know neither one of us can see each other. So you hot, baby. And you hook up with somebody real young, they see every wrinkle. I'm still kind of coughing because I took a lot of smoke in. And not necessarily from the fire. Weed judgment. You can just feel it. Okay. So how can you tell if you are receiving a plan from your divine self? Who can tell?
I can do it right now.
You can do it right now. Would you be adequate?
Yes.
Yeah, and would it be something almost like wiser than what you thought of? And so because it's wiser than what you thought of, does that mean there's a distinct possibility it might work? Because it wasn't your plan. It might work, right? Then it goes on to say, the healed mind is secure in certainty that obstacles cannot impede its progress to accomplishment. Oh, I love that. Of any goal that serves the greater plan established for the good of everyone. Okay, so if my mind is healed, then I know if I'm acting on the plan of the divine plan that's for, you can always tell the divine plan, because do you know that the divine plan is always a plan that's established for everyone's good and not just yours? Yeah. And what separates divine plans from ego or our plans is all of our plans are usually concerned with our personal interests and our personal happiness, while a divine plan is a plan that is inclusive of everyone's happiness. So when you are having a plan that is for the good of everyone, and it's the divine plan, there will be no obstacles to impede your progress. That's another way you can tell if you're following the loving plan. There are no obstacles if it's the loving plan according to A Course in Miracles. See, when I first read the Course in Miracles, I made myself feel depressed because it became so obvious how I was doing everything wrong. And then it made me understand why things had not gone consistently the way that I wanted them to go. Because how can things go consistently the way that I want them to go if nothing I'm doing is correct? So I was kind of glad to realize the error was on my part, but that didn't necessarily mean that happiness was not possible for me. It just meant that I was going about it incorrectly. But it didn't mean I couldn't have a beautiful relationship. It just meant my way of doing it sucked. Okay? Y'all hear the beauty of what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't let yourself be depressed because your plans won't work. Don't let yourself be depressed because your plans won't work and only God's plan will work. It's going to save you a lot of time. Are you trying to do something right now that you feel inadequate? Are you in a relationship you feel inadequate? Are you on a job you feel inadequate? Do you have a financial situation you think is inadequate? Do you have relationships that feel inadequate? Then you are not listening to wisdom that's greater than your own. Okay? Then it goes on to say you will not have an obstacle if you are trying to accomplish a goal that's coming from God.
Oh, wow.
There will not be an obstacle. That's what it's saying. So, any questions or any comments about that paragraph before I go to the next one? It can be an aha, it can be a question, it can be whatever you want. Okay.
What if it is an obstacle but it's being solved?
If it's been solved, it's not an obstacle. Yeah. Right.
I mean, if you're running into...
Right. If I'm running into an obstacle, then what is going to come to my mind is, okay, somewhere along the line I might have started out listening to God's plan, but now I somehow or another I took over, and now I'm trying to do my way again. That's how you keep realigning yourself. I mean, isn't the thing that makes the infinite intelligence is that it knows the answers to all things?
Yeah.
So how can an obstacle come up for infinite intelligence called God? Just by definition it can. So it can't be anything that your true self is telling you to do that you're having an obstacle doing. But there can be obstacles in terms of what you believe and what you think that get in the way of recognizing the good that you've already received. I could be loving all of you right now. Love could be coming through me right now to all of you. Some of you believe it, some of you don't. Some of you feel suspicious, some of you don't. But don't you see that has nothing to do with me? That just has to do with the blocks in your mind because you're thinking of me in terms of people you've known in the past. Of course. And the things you went through with other people in the past. And maybe other people who told you that they love you or that you're loving. So you're not dealing with me now. You're dealing with whoever you had relationships with before me. So you're not really giving me a clean slate or really giving me a chance to be an honest person in integrity. You're projecting your own past on me. So you're not really seeing me. You're being in a relationship with somebody that's not here. Like if you're dealing with me in terms of every man you've ever had in your life, they aren't here. I'm here. You haven't dealt with me before. So don't project Joe Blow onto Earl and think that Earl is going to be like every other man you've ever had a relationship with. That's not fair to me. And the Course in Miracles says that's what we do with everything. And we call it wisdom. And he says that's delusional because when you are judging based on something that's not even there, that's crazy. They lock people up for stuff like that. But we do it every day and we call it wisdom. I am not your last boyfriend. So don't look at me in terms of what your last boyfriend did or girlfriend did or boss did or friend did. That's what the Course is saying. We're delusional. We take the present moment and instead of realizing it's a clean, untarnished instant, each moment shows up free of the past. And then what we do is we use the present moment to interpret it in past terms. Here's a free moment that we could be loving each other and appreciating each other. And everybody's taking this moment to take their past experience of other people, let that determine how we relate to each other, and then we project that into the future, and then we meet it again. And then you recreate the same person you've been in relationship with over and over again. Makes you think you're right, but you don't know you're the one that created your pattern. and you call that wisdom. It's stupid. It's very stupid. I am not your past. Now, if I don't believe in God, if I don't believe in love, I don't believe I'm connected to you, of course I'm going to be suspicious of you. Because somehow or another, I think my safety and my peace and my joy comes from you and what you do. But if I know my love comes from me, and I'm the one who gives you the meaning, you can't hurt me. Because you can't hurt me unless I allow it by giving meaning to what you're doing or saying. So if you don't physically attack me, you can't hurt me. If you don't physically attack, you haven't attacked. Anybody else? Any thought before I go to the next? You had your hand up there, brother.
Something you said a little earlier. Why do I fear love?
Because everybody who, in most cases, every time you've experienced pain, if you be honest with yourself, it's always come from somebody that said, and with somebody that said they love you more than a stranger. I bet you everybody in here has experienced more pain from people that you know than people that you don't know. Think about it. It also looks like love comes and goes. It looks like love abandons you. It looks like love is all based on conditions and bargains, because that's the way it's been in the past. I'm just going to love you if you don't do this or that. So, of course, we're afraid of the kind of love we've been experiencing. It's sane to be afraid of the kind of love we give each other. You'd almost be insane if you like the kind of love we give each other. That would be insanity. Insanity is loving conditional love. Insanity is loving love limiting you.
Right.
Insanity is thinking that you got to act out somebody else's script in order for you to be valued. That's what goes for love in the world. And so that's why people fear love. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel stable. It doesn't feel strong. Does it help? So it doesn't make sense that based on the way that I've experienced love in the past, that I would be afraid of love. But I'm not really afraid of love. I'm afraid of my idea about what love is, based on what I've learned. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. And I saw some other hands. Yes.
So, the obstacle, would it be fair to say that the obstacle is like always in your mind?
That's the only place it's located.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, later on the course talks about the trials that come up, and we have the opportunity to choose again.
Yeah, all day.
So we're always choosing in our mind either to see the miracle or the fear.
That's right. That's
So
right.
the obstacles really aren't something outside of ourselves.
No.
Okay.
The obstacles are never outside of our mind, because nothing is outside of our mind. I'm not outside of your mind. Nobody in this room is outside of your mind. That's what's really deep you're going to find out one day. Is that you're just seeing images that are being projected from your own mind. Anybody else? Yeah, Chris.
So another way I can tell that I'm following Spirit's plan for me is that I'm excited about it. That I'm like, it makes me feel happy. I feel happy about it. It's something that makes me feel excited.
It would be inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be inspired.
Yeah.
The Court says to be inspired is to be in spirit, and to be fatigued is to be dispirited. So if you go, oh, I gotta go to work in the morning. I wanted this my divine job. I don't think so. Don't think so. Don't think so. Done.
When in paragraph 11, that the fourth sentence that has these three words, adequacy to fulfill.
Uh-huh.
So we're talking about God wouldn't have us do anything that we weren't ready to do, that we were inadequate. And the way I processed it was more like action-based, because I'm this action-oriented person, right? I don't want to just wait around, sit on my couch for the plan. So the way I interpreted it, and it was just like, wow, that's what it means, is I get busy on feeling at peace. Like, that's what I get busy at. I get busy, that's my plan, and then the plan can come through, and then I would be adequate to fulfill it.
If you do what?
If I get busy on being at peace,
Mm-hmm.
if I get busy on having you know, the resources lined up. So he's gonna give me a big plan, right?
Well, how can you line up resources to a plan you haven't received yet?
Well, resources just meaning the ability to be at peace and to get all of that fear out, to get
Right,
understand
that's the
God.
plan.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the whole process of the course, is to get rid of all the blocks and fears that keep you from being willing to allow yourself to receive the plan that you would be adequate
Right.
to fulfill. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's so cool about this. I'm sharing it with you, but then you get a chance to check that against what your inner self says. And then you make your own choice about what to do about it. Isn't that a good deal? That's all I'm doing. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you that this is the curriculum. And then it's going to be up to you to decide how much of this you want to do. Right? You want to do it more as your pain decreases as a result of doing it. See, I'm motivated by the course because I heard a voice tell me when I got ready to go get in the shower Tuesday before last, I heard a voice tell me, listen. And I listened, and I heard a crackling sound, and I opened up my blinds, and my balcony was on fire. Now, had I gone into the shower, I wouldn't have heard it. And the way my apartment is situated, I would have been trapped. Okay, so I now more and more have learned that if I learn how to establish a communication with my divine self, it's that's the best way to use my time.
Yeah.
Is to learn how to receive guidance and hear it. Where I see everybody else rushing around like chickens with their head cut off, coming up with things that they think is going to make them happy, pursue it, and sometimes get it and not be happy, and get it and not be happy. Then they come up with something else immediately that they think is going to make them happy. Then they go after that. It's usually something they can't have right now, so they're going to have to struggle. It always costs money they don't have. That's usually rule number one, or whatever it is your ego tells you to do. You won't be adequate to fulfill it. So you're going to say, I got to get this education, I got to get this money, I got to change my body, I got to make somebody like me. We'll come down with the whole list of the things on the outer that we need to do, and then achieve the goal sometimes. And still won't give ourselves 5 minutes pleasure with it before we on the way to something else that we think is missing. I realized I worked so hard because I was the one making up the jobs.
Yes.
You know, I was sitting around making up stuff for me to do, then working my can off, didn't get mad because I'm working so hard. But I was the one that came up with the idea in the first place. Right? If you say I'm going to be a lawyer, nobody said you had to be a lawyer. You made up your mind to be a lawyer. Then they said you got to go to law school and it costs $100,000, and then you're trying to get the loan. You were the one that came up with the whole process. And they don't want to pay the loan back. Resent the loan. As if they didn't give you the college education. It's like resent paying the credit card bill when you were the one that bought whatever's on the credit card. It's crazy. You bought it. So why are you resenting paying it back? It's like, I'm mad at the credit card company. Why? Because they asked for their money back. For the thing I bought. See, when the Course in Miracles says that when we hear how we think said back to us, he says it sounds completely insane. But nobody actually says what we do back to us to hear. But I was the one that created the bill in the first place. And I know it wasn't God's idea for me to make that bill in a way because what? I wasn't adequate to buy it. And then I resent it. Then I feel guilty because I don't pay it. Then I feel guilty. Then I believe I deserve to be punished whenever I feel guilty. So then I punish myself about the bill I made. Well, what would be the best way to punish myself? Not be able to pay it. And then it just perpetuates itself. But it's all coming from listening to wisdom that's not God's. That's it. It doesn't mean we're bad. Doesn't mean we're sinful. Doesn't mean we're guilty. It just means we made a mistake. But people don't like to make mistakes. So when you say it's a sin, then people kind of go, oh, okay. You know, you're so guilty, you're so bad, you're sinful. Well, people like that. You know why? Because I can't help that. Right? But check it out when I said, that person you gave your phone number to last night, That was a mistake. Letting yourself be broke, not have a sense of abundance, that's a mistake. Being in a relationship that doesn't reinforce your innocence and your value, that's a mistake. Getting up every morning to go to a job you hate, to be with people you like to blast away, that's a mistake. See, notice the difference? Now, what happens is this. Haven't you always trained your mind to not want to make mistakes?
Yes.
Haven't you?
Yes.
So if you call it a mistake, your mind will automatically want to correct it. Because you trained your mind to want to correct mistakes. If it's just sinful, and that's just the way you are, and you can't help it, that doesn't trigger any corrective mechanisms in your consciousness. If you go, I'm insecure and I just can't help it, the mind goes, it's a mistake to think that I can't be loved. I hate mistakes. I don't want mistakes. I've been taught not to do mistakes. We got to correct that. The mind gets on it. So start seeing the things that bring you anything less than joy is a mistake, an error in perception, and your mind will automatically start to alleviate it. But most people want to be right more than they want to be happy, so they don't do that. Because they want to be right. The Course says we get up in the morning with the goal of being right even when we're wrong. That's how we get up in the morning. I want to be right all day, even if I'm wrong. I want to be right. Even if I'm wrong as I can be, I still want to think I'm right. And then it goes another level and says, well, are you miserable? Are you unhappy? Do you feel less than inspired? Then you're incorrectly perceiving. You're wrong-minded. Did the man go wrong? I don't want to be wrong. No, not wrong, not wrong. It's wrong to have lack. Oh, God, I got to make you rich. I hate lack. I don't like lack. See, the answers are simple, but our ego is complicated. And so the hardest thing in the world for a complicated mind to perceive is simple answers. See, there's nothing I've said today that you're incapable of doing today. And that's the problem with it. That is the problem with it. There's nothing we were told today that we couldn't do today. But if I don't think I deserve to be happy, then I'm not going to accept any answer that you give me that would allow me to have joy and prosperity today. I don't deserve it. So then I need complex answers. Why? Because a complex answer will give me justification for taking a long time to have it solved so I can suffer a little while longer. Well, you don't know what I went through in my childhood. My daddy dropped me on my head when I was 3. I haven't been able to have an orgasm since. I want to keep blaming the past for my present misery. Why? Because I'm not ready to stop suffering yet. So when you're with a person who has decided that pain and suffering is the way to peace, they will never hear a solution that you give them to anything. Because they've already decided what the solution is. The solution is to give themselves pain and suffering. So they've already come up with their answer. I'll just suffer. I'll be depressed. I'll be unhappy. I'll be alone. And I'm gonna be unhappy for so long that one day I'll just turn happy.
Yep.
Everybody knows when you're miserable for 5 years and 3 months, you turn happy. So, I repeat, when your mind is healed, you won't be planning. You won't be planning because you'll be getting a plan from your higher self. You will have established communication with your higher self, God, Spirit. It will give you more wisdom than you have. The way you can tell that it's coming from God is you will be adequate to do it from where you are now. And there will not be any obstacles, because this plan will be a plan that's for the good of everyone. And not just you, but everyone. So if you come up with a plan that's just about your own personal happiness, do not be shocked when obstacles show up and you make mistakes in judgment. Because in both situations, you didn't check in with your higher self. And since it's not a plan that includes everybody's happiness, obstacles can come up. And so stop blaming other people. You need to enlarge the purpose of your goals. Your goals need to include the happiness of everyone. Now, how do you know you're not doing that? When you want somebody else to sacrifice their happiness to help you have what you want. When you're trying to make somebody else feel guilty for not doing what you want them to do. That means you're only concerned with your own happiness. Because if you were concerned with theirs also, you want a solution that made both of you feel fulfilled. And that's obviously not the case if you're on their case for not doing what you want them to do to make you happy. Hello. Hello. So imagine what it would be like to be in relationships with people who took responsibility for their own happiness and wanted to be a perfect shelter for you to grow in with your happiness and expression. And you wanted a win-win for both of you, and you wanted peace and love between you more than anything. There will be no obstacles in a relationship like that. And you will get what you want. And you know what you really want? Happiness. That's what you really want. Thanks for listening to this much Holy Spirit. Give it up to you. Give it up to you. Even if you didn't like nothing I said, act like it. Oh, wow. If you would notice, that's when it got really loud. Oh my God, that's when it got the loudest. Act like you liked it, but you didn't. That was when it went off the roof. Okay, so we're going to do a financial expression of appreciation. Thank you. I'm a full-time teacher of A Course in Miracles. I appreciate this. I don't have a fee for my classes because I want everyone to be able to come regardless of their financial situation. So thank you for coming. Okay, those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to earlpurdy.com and you can do that. And also, I'm available for one-on-one sessions. These sessions are called clarity sessions. I use all of the information that I've learned in 35 years of studying the course, plus my knowledge of the intuitive art of astrology and numerology for those who are open to it. Only for those who are open to it. Okay? It's not necessary in order for me to work with you. But I wouldn't be doing something for 40 years that I saw no value in. That would be kind of stupid. And I'm not stupid. Okay? The Course in Miracles teaches that Spirit will use every skill you learned for the purpose of awakening. So there's no talent or skill that you have that can be used for your personal growth. So to become enlightened doesn't mean you have to stop using everything you've been trained in. It means actually when you're going to realize one day that exactly where you are right now, with exactly the people you're with right now, and exactly the situation you're in right now, that situation could be completely transformed from fear to joy through a change of mind that comes from Spirit. And then from there, you can move into other things you enjoy even more. You can be healed right where you are, right now. With who you're with right now. But we have to learn, like he was saying, we need to be taught the curriculum of how to see it differently, and that's what the Course in Miracles does. And the Course in Miracles is just one path. It's not the only path. I'm glad it's not the only path, because that would take too long. Don't you see that? If everybody had to get on my path before we would be healed, it would take too long. But suppose if everybody's path could lead to love. Look at how quick we would get there. So I'm definitely not one of these people that's saying my way is the only way. There's only one truth.
Right.
But there's a lot of ways to get to it. That's the difference. You know, like there's one gravity, but we all got different ways of dealing with it in different places in the room. I'm glad there's one truth. One sounds simple. You know. So, I'm going to complete now. I'd like for you to listen to the sound of my voice and ask Spirit to give you the plan. And you know the plan that's your plan, it needs you the way you are. There's somebody on their knees praying right now for a person just like you. There are people in this world that you are a step up for them. They don't even think somebody cool as you even exists. They just would be shocked to know you as you are now would be so cool to them, they would be amazed. And if they're really afraid of love, you don't have to worry about being hurt by them because they're going to run away. That's all. Don't worry about it. They're going to run away. When you are experiencing more love than the other person thinks that they deserve, they will not be attracted to you and they will try to get away from you, either consciously or unconsciously. That's why you'll be safe. Fearful people are not attracted to loving people. Fearful people are not attracted to loving people. Fearful people are not attracted to loving people. They fear them. They think they're deceivers. They think they got a game that they're running down on them. Because they can't conceive of anybody being that cool. That's deep, isn't it? Now, they'll run away unless you grab them and try to hold on to them. That's what we do. We let the person that treats us nice go. And then the person that's challenging us, that'll be the person we give all our energy to because they're reflecting back to us what we really believe about ourselves. So that makes the loving person safe. It's a perfect arrangement. I love that. A healed mind.
This is Dr. Bell, and these are the dress.
Healed mind.
And we are here to let you know that we ain't got no time to lose. So I want everybody.
We got no time to
Get up and
lose.
look into a brand new group. Come on, let's go. Everybody do. Let's go.
And let yourself hear his voice. A healed mind is relieved of the belief that it must plan. Although a healed mind cannot know the outcome which is best. A healed mind is secure. A healed mind is secure. When your mind is healed, you feel 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 secure that obstacles cannot impede on the accomplishment of your goal. When your mind is healed, you feel secure that obstacles cannot impede your goal. Because your goal, because your goal, because your goal, because your goal, because your goal is part of a greater plan. A greater plan that's been established for the good of everyone. So whatever your plan is right now, I'd like for you to say that you would like your plan to benefit everyone. I want my 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 plan to benefit everyone. I I want my plan to benefit everyone. I want my plan to benefit everyone. I want my plan to benefit you. I want my plan to benefit you. Look at somebody. I want my plan to benefit you. I want my plan to benefit you. What you say now? I want my plan to benefit you. Hey, back, plan to benefit you. What? We want our plan to benefit us. We want our plan to benefit us. Woo! I want my plan to benefit us.